Yes, we're live on Facebook. Mhm. Okay, I guess this April Fool's joke needs to end sooner or later. But anyway, Chuck Matthews with you this morning on WYAB. How are y'all doing? So let's get some housekeeping out of the way this morning. We need to send out some prayers to the Canton fireman yesterday, injured by the power line. He was, I believe, he was shocked, and I don't know the update to give you anything else on that. A buddy of ours, Rob Givens, he was the DJ Evil One. He was in various bands when we were growing up around the Jackson area, and he lives in Tampa now, but he was uh, injured, I believe, in a car accident this past weekend, and he has passed away. Also, let me remind everybody at Martin's this weekend and is Kill Devil Hill. And Dewey Bragg, our affectionately known by some of us as Little Jason, he was in a band with Rob Givens at one time, just to let you know. Dewey Bragg will be in town with his band Kill Devil Hill down at Martin's on Saturday night. And y'all, that is a rock show. You know, you need that. And when he formed Kill Devil Hill, originally it had a bass player from the bass player Rex from Pantera, and it also had the drummer from Black Sabbath. Yeah, you're talking about a real band. Jason left Mississippi. He was in a band with my buddy Chris Painter. Many of y'all know him. He was in a band with, like I said, Rob and Rob. They had this unique band that had two bass players, and but they were, their big song, "Just Another Romeo," Vanderveer. Come on, Chip. Come on, Chip. And Gluckstadt. What's his name? But anyway, Tony Henson, guitar player in the band. But all these musicians and all these people from around here leave and do great things, and you have to leave here to do it sometimes, because we're here in this state of Mississippi, and this is where we lead to the corruption. Okay, let's also congratulate Clay for getting another FAFO grand champion, where his thing went viral. He was showing the guy with the gun aiming it at a cop. Clay's viral, and then they found him. But anyway, I like to thank the guy that came out. I cannot find the name of your business on here. He has a pool business in the area. He came out to the restaurant and ate last night. Thank you for coming out. But last night we were at, or yesterday afternoon, we were at Grip and Grin, a great event at Mama Hamill's on the first Wednesday of each month. And now you'll have some more politicians hanging out this Saturday in Rankin at about 7:30 a.m. for the Rankin breakfast. It's a prayer breakfast, but you need to come on out. They have political talk. Everybody will be there. And with what's been going on, where they arrested someone already in the scandal that went on we're calling it a scandal. I don't know if you'd call it a scandal, where the mayor of Florence, or I believe that was what city, was taking a check from there and taking a check from the county at the same time. All that needs to be worried out. But I say that to say this. It is insane to believe that the politicians believe that the money that they have in their possession is their money to spend. It is our money, and we have trusted you to spend it wisely. Yesterday, Lynn Fitch was at Grip and Grim, Okay. And she made a comment that different monies that she had brought into her agency. And she says, we're going to have to set up a agency or a group inside the agency. It sounded like to me like you're just expanding the government on your own, or she was going to lose the funds that she had brought in to the AG's office. Why wouldn't you just send that to the general fund? We don't need politicians who are elected in different offices in the state deciding where to spend our money. We put people in office to do their jobs. Their job is to fight crime. Now, of course, Lynn has not done anything to help us in the election department, and we're sitting here with an election coming up. And y'all, in this election coming up, if Lynn Fitch would or somebody would do their job, we would have things on the books that would help us. Like, for instance, in Canton, if a person changes the test scores and gets suspended by the Board of Education, State Board of Education, pulls her license for 10 years, they have pulled her license for 10 years. And in the interim, she's decided, I'll just go to the low-hanging fruit and I'll run for mayor of Canton. And of course, right now, she is the front runner in the Democratic Party. Okay. She had more votes than Tim Taylor. Tim needs to get out and start beating the streets and find some more votes. Or the other people that voted for this Kamala Walker or Camelia Walker, whoever it was that voted for her, need to get a grip and figure it out. Because a person who stole education, because what she did is Canton has been an F for so long, it's pathetic. Okay. Moves up to a D, the F. She changed test scores, state test scores, so that Canton would be a C. Okay. And then we got all these accolades and all that for being a C. And we find out that it's a false C because she changed all the test scores. So she has been suspended by the Department of Education. But think of the money that was spent teaching these kids and the money that we wasted. And this person should be in jail. She should be indicted. There should be more to it than just a slap on the wrist. Does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, yeah, and it was the Mayor Richland on that, what I was talking about. Thanks, Clay. Oh, and Clay, by the way, was a great radio guy back in the day. I put him on the air 100 years ago. He's also the trainer in the state for active shooter drills and various drills around. You law enforcement people will know who I'm speaking of, but he was a radio star at one time. But y'all, getting back to this subject, if Lynn Fitch has money and she wants to start an agency inside her agency to handle something else, I mean, she means well and good. I understand that, but it's not her money to spend. It should go to the general fund. All money's collected by these outside. When people collect money, it should go to the general fund. It shouldn't be, example, if the Secretary of State collects money, it needs to go to the general fund. If state auditor finds some money, it should go to the general fund. When law enforcement finds money, I don't know where it goes, but some of that should go to the general fund. It should be divided up to where we, the people, get to decide how our money is spent. That is what the world, that's what we all believe is going on in the world. We have some saying things. And for instance, right now, and it was a bill up on the floor to where we would have a recall initiative, and the legislators were going to give that to us because they've taken the ballot initiative away from us. We can't ask for the recall. And and some of y'all people that would want to recall, y'all would have recalled Chokwe a long time ago. Okay. And you would have, and we get in the situation where once they're in office and we don't like them anymore, until they're convicted of some crime, you cannot remove them, but you could if you had a recall. But they took that from us. They took that from us. You know, so meanwhile, we have a person in Canton running for office that should be in jail because she fake test scores. They took her license away. I would think the state education board would turn her over to be prosecuted as a criminal. You would think that. She cheated on test scores. That's millions of dollars inside of school. How many kids have, you talk about saving the kids all the time. How many kids were hurt by not being able to be educated? I know half of them don't go to school anyway, but the reality is the school has to be solid. And there was no effect. And never mind, the state should have taken over Canton a long time ago. But, that's not going to happen. They're scared of Madison County. The state of Mississippi is scared to come in Madison County and do a damn thing. They're scared to do anything in Benny Thompson's district. They're scared. Y'all sit down there and you're scared to come into this county because you're scared that you're going to lose a Democratic vote. All you Republicans and you rhinos out there, you're scared. And you're scared for the wrong reasons. You don't care what happens to us. We don't get the vote out in Madison County. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. You don't care. Same in Jackson. In the Democratic districts, the Republican Party does not work hard enough to change the rest of the state. And we allow ourselves to be bastardized and stolen from by the Democrats in the state. And then let's not talk about the rhinos. The rhino, they just recruited 9 Republicans to become, or 9 Democrats to become Republicans. All that did was rhinos. This rhinos, we got to show up the rhinos. And then Delbert Hoseman's down there pushing that bill, which yesterday at Grip and Grin, it came through that it passed. And I cannot find any information on it that it passed. But they were putting in the early voting bill in. The people at the Grip and Grin were coming up to me. You need to talk to Jill Ford. Jill Ford has not even looked at the bill and she voted for it. She didn't read all the bill. That's what they were saying to me. That's alleged what happened. But I'm trying to figure out if the bill passed. If early voting passed, then everybody out there has got to get on the phone and call Tate Reeves and make sure that he vetoes it. Early voting. And if you go online, they have a state where you can look on the line and look at who was on the committee. Delbert loaded that committee with just Democrats. You got Jeremy England at the top as the chairman. Then it's all Democrats, y'all. And it includes Blackman from Canton, who's helping who's running the campaign and helping out with the campaign for Camelia Walker, the educator. She says she's an honest educator who went to jail or didn't go to jail, got convicted, got reprimanded by the Board of Education of Mississippi because she changed state test scores in order to get accolades, and that Canton had gone to a C and this and that and the other. And, it's important that Canton has a good score. But what they did was they took the super site out of Canton and they pair the super site, which is located in Canton, y'all. You take the Canton exit. They took that out to pair it with Madison County's test scores so that businesses would want to come here because it's an A-rated district. Never mind, your location is right there in the heart of hell, right there in Canton, Mississippi. But anyway, we'll get back. We'll talk some more about it. If you got something on your mind, give us a call here at the radio station. If you believe in what I believe, if you want to have a dissenting opinion about it, give me a call. I don't care. I'll argue with anybody. Right now, I'm arguing with the wall. We'll talk about the tariffs and all the good things that are happening in America and how we're going to make you rich coming up after the break right here on WYAB.
sure your roof and gutters can withstand any storm. Get up to a possible $250 rebate on a new roofing system for all active military, veterans, and retirees. Online at eliteroofer.com.
Open Skies Concerts presents an inspirational evening of gospel hymns, the Sing Unto the Lord concert at Parkway Church, 601 Reunion Parkway, Madison, Mississippi, Friday, April 4th at 7 p.m. Seating is limited, so get your premier artist circle or general admission tickets today by visiting singuntothelord.eventbrite.com or by calling 870-831-0815. That's singuntothelord.eventbrite.com or call 870-831-0815. Parkway Church in Madison, Mississippi.
And we're back here on WYAB. Chip Matthews here, the Chip Matthews Show on WYAB. Right now, we're still filling in for the vacationing Matt Bishop, but I will be taking over this slot and be here every morning in the future, so know that. I see where a friend of mine, Beth McNeil, has made a comment on Facebook. Tell the truth and no one wants to listen. Tell a lie and improve test scores. Make important people feel more important. And she said, you are, speaking of me, I guess, a top-notch candidate for mayor. I thank you, Beth. I grew up with Beth. She's probably partial to it. I remember waking up in her home back when politics in Canton were politics. And her father was a big leader in politics in Canton. And my biggest memory of him is when I sat down and he talked me into eating brains and eggs, of all things. Brains and eggs. Y'all, I'd never had them before in my life. And my buddy Lee was laughing at me about it because he goes, that's brains. You're not eating ham. That's brains. His daddy, Mr. Tom had told me it was ham and eggs. And I said, no. I found out later it was brains and eggs. The Irish cooked them up and put them in front of me. And that's just the way it goes. But that was the best house in the world to go to and get chocolate milk every afternoon with Lee and the gang. It was fun. Y'all don't understand. Growing up in Canton on East North Street was the greatest experience that a person. I mean, Leave It to Beaver had nothing on that. You know, if they also showed where you go and roll yards. I'm not saying that anybody did that, Beth, or any of you people. I mean, we grew up in Canton, and Canton was a great city. And like I've decided, after looking at the About Us, it's About Us signs, that I'm going to start talking about my Canton. And I want all the Canton citizens to think about their Canton as their Canton. And everybody say, I want my Canton back. My Canton, where the square was full of people. The square had people. It had businesses. I will go find those businesses to be back on that square. And that's the same thing Kim Wade is doing for Jackson. He wants to see it work. You got to get out and make these things happen. Why in the world do you not understand? Why do you sit at home and not vote and just say, just give up? We have 3 generations that have given up on politics. You inherited your dad's business or your granddad's business. I know jewelry stores in Jackson's that are 3 generations and this, that, and the other, and same in Canton and this, that, and the other. They inherited businesses, and what did they do? Pocketed the money and did something else. They didn't get involved in politics, didn't try to save their city, didn't understand that the community is so important to keep together. What do you not understand? Brandon has grown into a community. You know, Brandon was basically a good area at one time, but it didn't have much commerce and this, that, and the other. But look at it now. There are restaurants lining up to be in Jackson, in Brandon, and your problem, and that's Brandon City proper. But the problem is, you know, when you're opening a business, you look and say, where are people going to park? This, that, and the other. That's still a little issue that you need to work on. But other than that, they're getting the businesses. They need a good steakhouse. I'd like to go open a good steakhouse there. But my next steakhouse will be back in my hometown of Canton. It will be there. I will do it again. I'm old, but I'm set in my ways. And I believe one thing. Canton will, under my leadership, look like Oxford, Mississippi. For you state fans, if you've never been there, you need to go look at it. And the people of Canton, we have got, and Beth, I need your help. I need everybody's help. I need people in Canton to do what they're not doing in Canton and in Jackson, and that's taking back their city. They're not going out and trying to make it better. Pearl and Brandon and Rankin County, they're doing a hell of a job of creating a great place to live. Meanwhile, in Madison County, everybody's putting money in their pockets and running the other way. That's exactly what they're doing. You know, Clay McPherson put up online, he goes, apparently in Canton, they like the corruption just like Jackson has become. Yet the Democratic leadership, but I'm going to tell you right now, only the politicians are Democrats. And they guilt the people in the cities to be Democrats. And this is among the Black community. Like, for instance, on election day, the About Us signs and Black Lives Matter signs were put up, and it was a Black man running against a Black lady in the mayor's race. Okay? But the Blackman family, understand, not Black man, but Blackman family, law firm there in town, lives on they have the big houses and they have the big offices, and they look like they live on they're like they're in the big house on the plantation, look out over the city. They have all the money. They've been getting all the money for years because they represented CMU and they represented the city of this. They got all the money and they don't share it with the community, but they want to make sure that they get their person in office, and the person they're trying to get in office right now should be in jail for cheating test scores. They should be having that girl should be, and she can't work in schools again for 10 years. But the reality is she should never be allowed to go back to teach school. She cheated generations of people learning math, learning how to read. You want to talk about Mississippi is done great this year. They call it the Mississippi Miracle, and we're at the top in the United States on teaching people to read, this, that, and the other. We didn't teach anybody to read. Mississippi just rose to the top because we keep doing the same thing. And we are actually part of a downfall in America where we're the 40th on the school grade. We rank number 40th in teaching people anything. And Mississippi just looks better right now because the whole United States is down on teaching people anything that matters. I'm not saying that people aren't trying, and we've got some great teachers. Don't get me wrong. And that's why I look at the PERS system, and they're trying to figure out a revenue stream, and they're fixing to have extra sessions for this, that, and the other. Look, y'all, look. PERS needs to be funded. You have a sporting bill out there to give it a steady revenue. Give it to them. But then if Lynn Fitch has money laying around up there at her office that she's collected and she wants to start a new government agency, why don't you go get that money and put it into the purse? You need to pay off your bills. And to me, paying off your bills, since you shouldn't be making the government larger than the money you have, that's called Republican leadership there, Delbert. I know you say you're a Republican. Republican leadership there says that you should pay your bills. Shrink the size of the government. I was listening and I was looking online and on the site at all the different agencies and all the different committees and all the different things. I mean, we have two sets of committees that run just gaming in Mississippi. You have gaming and you have the lottery. Okay. Of course, if they pass sports betting, they'd make more money in sports betting than they would in the other two. But they would make another committee to run it, and they would pay those people on that committee to run it. And it's just, it's ridiculous. We only need one committee to run all of it. That's that. And, some of this stuff basically runs itself. We could set up an AI program nowadays to answer the phones and everything. We could shrink government down to nothing. We don't try. We don't care. We want to keep everybody in place because the politics in Mississippi, especially with Democrats and rhinos in charge, it's a jobs program. We are running a jobs program, and everybody wants a big salary and move up the things so that their 13th check when they retire is going to be huge. And, these 13 checks, I know a man, he passed away this past year, but he lived to be 99. Okay. his PERS check was double anything that he ever made during his lifetime. And I mean, look, he deserved every dollar of it. Don't get me wrong. If the program is the program, but his 13th check was double what he made when he was working. I mean, because look, he was retired for 40 years. Retired for 40 years. You know, if you retire for 40 years, you're going to keep getting a check. That's the way the system works. And there's nothing wrong with the system. The problem with the system is the government, our state government, did not fund it way back. And they still are trying to figure out a way to patch it as we go. Then they want to come up with a new tier level. Look, either give them the money or don't give them the money. But if you're going to not give them the money, you just need to cut it off and say, okay, we have all these people and we got to figure out how to fund this for back. And in the future, we'll just pay people what they're worth. Okay. So that means all the policemen, you need to give them 20, 30% raise across the board, all across, maybe even more. You need to pay them what they're worth to risk their lives out there to keep us safe while y'all just let them go as soon as we put them in jail. What is wrong with y'all? What is the insanity? I mean, what do you think? I don't know. You're crazy. You're all crazy. You're all down there at the legislative building trying to decide this. I'm seeing all kind of garbage bills come out. I saw one bill on the that somebody put in where Gene McGee in Ridgeland was already told in November that they didn't want to raise taxes. Okay. There's a bill on the floor up for reconsideration, I believe, to make sure that they put the 2% in. I have no idea what happened in the recent election when they got it put back on the agenda on the voting this year. I don't know what happened. Nobody publicizes that. But the goal is to reduce taxes if you're a Republican. Gene, listen to me. I know you don't like me. I know you don't. And I pray for you. But we've got to reduce taxes, reduce the size of government, fix the areas that we have that need to be fixed, or it's all going to fall down. Look at your county line road. Quit looking the other way. Jackson is on the other side. If Chokeway somehow winds up on the other side of Jackson, you got a bigger problem. You've got a bigger problem. If Kim Wade doesn't get that chair, parts of Ridgeland will be looking like Metro Center. It will. No way around it. Big box stores, commerce doesn't want to come and be around a bunch of 60-year-old apartment complexes that are falling down and there is no plan. Hookers at the hotels up the road, drugs being sold up there at the interstate. It's going on, and you act like it's not. You're going, everything needs to go to Highland College Park. We'll just forget about all that area. That is the most expensive set of land there in Mississippi, probably from Highway 51 and 55 all the way back to the reservoir. If you tell me you can't develop that, then you can't develop anything. You have no vision. You're only going where the people with vision who have money to build their own areas on land that they own, they're doing the right thing. And they're able to build. They know what they're doing. And they're very good at it. Don't get me wrong. And you need what you come in. Your sales tax are down $1 million. You're doing something wrong. And making it up by telling people they need to charge more, that doesn't help. That's you being a Democrat, which I did call you a Democrat. And you know that in person. So that's the facts. Anyway, let's take another break. We'll be back right here on the Chip Matthews Show here on WYAB.
Gary Jolly from the Tractor Store. LS Tractor understands your passion for the land, and just like you, LS Tractor is committed to excellence and superior products. LS Tractor comes with a long list of standard features that are unmatched by other brands, and backed with the LS
brief. Futures markets are in a free fall a day after the president escalated his trade war. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen.
President Trump's announcement of universal tariffs is a major blow to the world economy.
Down 1,200 right now. Tariffs on cars and trucks kick in today. That's been keeping dealerships busy. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
Normally, a dealership has about 1 to 2 months of inventory on the lot. So anything after that is going to get hit with that tariff.
At least 3 people have been killed in severe storms and tornadoes that have swept the Midwest and the South. CBS's Omar Villafranca is in Lake City, Arkansas.
Last night, storms were raking across Arkansas and Tennessee. In fact, at about 1:30 in the morning in Memphis, Tennessee, there was a tornado siren going off in downtown. And now, folks are waking up to see all of the damage.
CBS News Brief. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
Malone is a company in motion, striving daily to improve the way the roofing industry operates and is perceived. A leader in commercial and residential roofing, metal walls, and ceilings. Malone meets the highest quality materials delivered with expertise workmanship from a claim or construction. At Malone, you found your roofing and metal walls partner. Malone has proven for generations there is nothing we can't accomplish. Protecting people and what matters to you. More info at ecmalone.com.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Are you craving a home-cooked meal without the hassle? Come over to McBee's Bar and Grill in Richland for their Blue Plate lunch specials. Served up every weekday, at McBee's is a different entree every day. Chicken spaghetti on Mondays, beef tip Tuesday, pork chop Wednesday, spaghetti Thursday, and catfish Fridays. And McBee's Blue Plate lunch comes with 2 classic southern sides and cornbread or a roll. McBee's specials are served every weekday from 11 to 2. McBee's, buzzing the res since 1982.
ABS causes mass hysteria by providing office tech that actually does its job.
Relax. At Advantage Business Systems, we know office technology isn't that exciting, but we do know it is life-changing. Work life-changing, that is. Because the latest copiers, printers, mailing machines, and even telephone systems keep your office running smoothly. Visit absms.com. Advantage Business Systems, helping your business do business.
This ad is for all the guys who work hard and they expect their truck to do the same. At RPT Commercial, we have the accessories to help you on the job site. From names like Bedrock flatbeds, WeatherGuard toolboxes, Knapheide service bodies, ARE camper tops, deck storage solutions, and so much more. Stop by our new store on Highway 80 in Pearl and check with our expert staff. See what they can do to make the job just a little bit easier on you. At RPT Commercial, trucks live here.
Yes, I am just a simple man here on WYAB. And Clay McPherson is who I'm talking about. You are too honest to be mayor. Well, I don't know about all that, but Canton does need real change. And you know, in the last election 4 years ago, I went to City Hall every day to make sure that nobody was going to cheat when they were voting absentee. And we had absentee voting down to 15 people in a Democratic city. 15. Okay. So going into this election, I did not go sit in the Democratic primary like I did last year. But I did tell those that were on the ballot, you get somebody up here and watch or you're going to get screwed. We had 187 absentee ballots in Canton in this election. We went from 15 to 187. Where it was before that was 1,500 ballots. Those people, that alderman went to jail. Or rather, he's been pled guilty, and then he's waiting to plead guilty again in the corruption trial with Rudy Warnock. Y'all, the corruption is out there. People are out there stealing everything from us. And the state and even the local DA is not prosecuting these people to the fullest extent of the law. And that is why in Benny Thompson's district, they are scared. I mean, I hate to say this about Bubba. Bubba will take care of Rankin County. He ain't coming to Madison. He ain't coming to Madison County because that's most of Madison County is in Benny Thompson's district. And, oh, we're scared of Benny. Oh, Benny will cut our funding. Y'all, Benny Thompson is a joke, and every 2 years we could get rid of him. And that's because you don't think about it that way. You don't think about it, that you could go vote and send Benny Thompson home. If Republicans will get out and vote. I mean, in Canton, Mississippi, there's a group that's out there by the country club. If they would get out and vote, I would win the mayor's race. But they don't get out in large numbers. Everybody is afraid to go. Look at what they did in Rankin County. In Rankin County, they had one polling place. Do you know how easy it is to watch one polling place? So in Canton, you could have one polling place and everybody could come in to vote. And it would keep corruption down because we'd all be watching each other. There wouldn't be this going over by the chicken plant and this going over in a school district that nobody from Canton has ever rolled up in. Come on, people. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous what we do. Same thing goes on in Jackson. Same thing goes on in Jackson. And if this early voting bill passes, y'all, I'm just going to let you know, total chaos. This whole state will be blue. This whole state will be blue. Look at the board. I know some people are for the early vote and they just don't know enough about it. Okay. But look at it this way. The committee that is pushing for early voting, that Delbert Hosemann, the Republican, as he says, allegedly, put a whole committee together, and it's all Democrats except for Jeremy England. It's all Democrats. Do you think that's good for us? Do you think that's good for the conservative voice? It's not even good for the Democratic voice, because the only Democrats that we have in this state are those that are politicians who go out and scare the hell out of everybody. If you're going to vote black, you're going to vote our black. This is among the black folks in Canton. You have one group that says, you're not going to support Tim Taylor. You're going to support our criminal element teacher who changed test scores for the good of the town to keep the state from taking over our school district. And then, of course, the state just says, you can't teach for 10 years. They don't go back and help us. They don't come into the town and try to take over our school system and fix it. That school district should be closed. And all of a sudden, look at it this way. Property values go through the roof. They just raise taxes because property values go down in Canton. And we have to pay for the city government because the city government won't shrink and do what they and stay within their budget. So if you won't shrink and stay within your budget, you got to raise taxes, right? Or better yet, if the property values were going up in Canton, they would be able to raise the money that they need to run the city off our property. But our property hadn't worth anything. I almost said the wrong word. Same for South Jackson. That's what occurred. Property values. These people owned houses. There were people that owned $500,000 in houses in Jackson who just walked away and let the state and the city take them back. Said, we'll just go build a new house somewhere else. We got the money to do it. We can't sell it for anything worth anything. We'll just walk away. It's wrong. It's not the way things work. It's not the way things work. We have to fix it. And like if you close the school district in Canton, and this was a big fight between two brothers at one time. But if you close the school district in Canton, property values would shoot up. Those poor people that are in the Canton school district that at Lake Caroline, their houses will go up a couple $100,000 overnight. As soon as you close the school district, it would make property values worth it. That we really need it. We need that in Canton. We need the school district to go away. And I know Madison would hate that, but it once y'all bring that leadership that the county has to put the infrastructure in place to run our school and to make sure that it's not a hiring program for family members, things would get better. Because the way it works now is if you get fired from the city or you're corrupt or whatever, that you'll leave the city government and you'll go to work at the school. Or if you're at the school and you getting caught with your hand in the cookie jar or having sex with students or whatever, you wind up going to work for the government. That's what's going on. It's a jobs program. And let's not get into the county and their corruption with District 4 and 5 and a little bit of Steen in whatever district he's in. Anyway, we'll be back. Take a break.
Fixing problems as they happen. But with Blue Primary Care, we're taking a proactive approach, working with you to help you understand your health and empowering you to be healthy. It's time to prioritize your health and your life. The results? Less worrying and more living. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue.
For years now, the filet mignon of chicken, the top 3% of chicken, the tenderloin with pure perfection in every bite, has been served at Huey Magoo's. At Huey Magoo's, chicken is the centerpiece of every mouth-watering plate, fried or grilled. Try them in meals or sandwiches, salads, and wraps. And Huey Magoo's has the best sauces: sweet heat, buffalo, garlic parmesan, and lemon pepper. You really will taste the difference with Huey Magoo's chicken tenders. Huey Magoo's, Bass Pro Drive in Pearl or Lakeland Drive in Flowood. Huey Magoo's, make someone smile today.
Get the jump on the season at the #1 stop for all your boating and custom water sports needs, Smith Marine. Crest pontoons are here. Come experience luxury and style with a 90-day, no payment, no interest financing option with approved credit, plus a 1-year CITO membership, free cover, free bimini top, and free inflatable tube. And these crests are pre-rigged with Suzuki motors and Suzuki's industry best warranty. Smith Marine also buys quality pre-owned boats with consignments and trade-ins on the res in Ridgeland and at smithmarinesales.com.
And we're back here on WYAB. A little bit here. Let's go through some more housekeeping real quick. Coming up at 7 o'clock, the one, the only, the Clay Edwards Show. And he'll be in to talk about all the corruption and everything going on in Jackson. Then at noon, 10 o'clock, we have the Jameson Haygood Show, The Good Fight, where you learn more than you want to know about what's going on in the world. You need to know. You need to listen. what he speaks is he speaks the truth, and nothing. This whole station just speaks the truth. Coming on at noon, of course, Sean Yurkaron. Now that he ain't hanging out with Clay, he's hanging out at noon. Don't miss his show at noon. And then, of course, and I forgot what they call that. I can't remember. Is he crossing over or whatever? And then at 4 o'clock, it is the Kim Wade show, the future mayor of Jackson. And look, it is so important, so important. Y'all don't understand. Nobody got out to vote in this last election. In June, I don't care about what happens in the upcoming runoff. I don't care, because you need to be out voting for Kim Wade, and you need to be out in Canton voting for me, and you need to be out voting for conservative leadership throughout the state, if you can hear my voice, or throughout the world. We're worldwide here on this show. You know, that's it. We're worldwide. But let me tell you right now, you've got to get out more people to vote than you ever have before, and you've got to talk to people and tell them. And in June 3rd, you've got to get out and you've got to vote for Kim Wade. You've got to vote for Chip Matthews in Canton. You've got to do it. You got to get out the vote. You can't, if you have a neighbor that won't get off his ass, you put him in the car and carry him with you. It's just that important. It is that important. I'd also like to remind everybody, I see Michael Goba put something up here on my Facebook page saying, what about the fire truck in the picture? And then Minor Norman was at the Grip and Grin and told us all about this. It was acknowledging and thanking Holmes Community College Body Shop in Goodman for donating their time on repainting the used heavy rescue truck the county bought last year. And they're still working on it, but that's community development. Minor went out and got us a truck, and it looks great here for Madison County. It's something we needed. And then Holmes Junior College, who has a program to fix things and make them look good, they're doing that. There are people still doing good in the world. They don't report the good. They don't even, when you do 30 minutes of news at WLBT or any of the TV stations here in Jackson, APT, JTV, to make sure I make them all, they act like they can't find 30 minutes of corruption to talk about on the news. They can't find anything. All of a sudden they go national with these issues, and Trump did this and this and another. And then, of course, they're against what Trump's doing. Trump is trying to make every person in America wealthy. He wants you to feel that dollar in your pocket is worth even more than it ever has before. That is what is going on with the tariffs. Think about it this way. All these countries have to pay us. The country before income tax used to run on just tariffs. They didn't need any money. America was rich. They didn't know what to do with the money. They had so much money. That is what Trump is trying to do. He's trying to build the economy, and he's trying to share wealth with you. You know, it's look at this. Trump thinks of us, the citizens of America, as family. He would never leave his family, real family, without $1. He would bill for them and bill for them and bill for them, and make Trump great again. Now he's trying to make America great. He's trying to put the money in your pocket. And although you're doubting him in this, that, and the other, that money is going to come to your pocket. And it doesn't have to come from, it's not coming from the government. It's going to take your dollar, and your dollar is going to be worth more money, and it will buy more in the future. But that's where we're headed. Now, there are a lot of economists that say different, but I see the end goal. And you have all these smart people who think they know, and my 401k is down. Well, unfortunately for the people of us that have some money in a 401k, this, that, and the other, it's down. But we all know we weren't taking it out tomorrow, and we know that it'll be back. So all stocks, they go down, they go up, they go down, they go up. And then if somebody wants them to go away, some government corruption comes along to make sure it goes away, or somebody in the company is stealing, or this, that, and the other. It happens. But that's what's going on. Y'all, it's been great talking to y'all this morning. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., bright and early. The Clay Edwards Show is next right here on WYAB.